we look back and say, what did the last Trump administration try, right, fail to do, and what did they actually accomplish?
Paul, I think you can kind of tell us a little bit about what you saw happening kind of on the enforcement-based side, whether it was with OPLA or just enforcement at the border. What did you kind of see that happened last time with the first administration that maybe you expect to see the second time around?
Well, the travel ban was very early on. That was shock and awe, and that morphed into a travel ban that survived constitutional review. Maybe there'll be more country-specific travel bans that will be implemented. Prosecutorial discretion changed a lot. So we had a similar kind of model under the Biden administration of what cases we went after and what cases we did not. And so I expect the government will still exercise prosecutorial discretion, so we can still ask that a case be dismissed, and it'll just be case by case, and there'll be decisions that will be made on that. We'll see what happens with admin closure. Admin closure is one of those things that sort of is, depending on the Attorney General, it's been something that's been broadly used or very narrowly used. So we'll see how that goes. We saw a lot of it getting tougher to meet the requirements for legal immigration. And I have less experience with that. You all have more experience with that.
We definitely saw, I remember in the first Trump administration, we saw just like crazy things like them rejecting applications that were filed because instead of, sometimes, for instance, they ask for a client's middle name, right, on an application. Maybe client doesn't have middle name, so we just we've always traditionally left that box blank, but then they enforced a NA policy where any box that was blank that did not have NA would just simply get rejected. And so that was particularly very harsh in cases where there's like a timing issue or a timing deadline. I know that, for instance, U visa cases, you only have so long to file after you get the certification from the police department. So that is definitely something that I think is going to make legal immigration harder. Interviews all across the board for cases, for everything.
I think. I think. That was one of the things that really gummed up the works last time around. Is you have cases that can be fully adjudicated based on the evidence that you submit. Right. For instance, a petition of a parent of a USC, you're just proving, hey, is this a parent? Yes or no? Do you have enough evidence to prove it? So the interviews were pretty ridiculous. You'd go in and you'd waste a ton of time, and the officer would be wasting their time to confirm, like, is this your kid? Yeah. Is this your parent? Yeah. You still live at blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that's extremely inefficient, but I think it was done on purpose, and I think stuff like that's coming back.
I also foresee the return of our favorite I-944 form, which Paul will now have the pleasure of doing now that
can't wait.
He's a private practitioner, but that was just really going after people on the public charge grounds, specifically of inadmissibility, just trying to really, it's sad, penalize people who are lower income and trying to prevent them from adjusting their status. And so I do think that may be something that we see coming back as well.